Y'all know that Filipinos were first in Little Tokyo in the 1920s? And before it was Little Tokyo, it was called Little Manila. Did y'all know that? Some did, some don't. Well, now you know. And so there was a Filipino community of mostly males located in downtown LA. And they came in response to America's agricultural industry's needs for workers. And due to restrictions of where us Filipinos could live, they were limited to an impoverished section of Little Tokyo, particularly First and Main Streets. And this is where we had Filipino-owned businesses, restaurants, barbershops, inexpensive hotels, pool halls, and taxi dance halls. It was a pretty vibrant place in the 1920s. Just imagine that, right? And so, take you a little bit further into the 1940s is where this group of Filipino residents, the community moved out of Little Manila due to racial tensions within the Filipino and Black community. Now think about it at that time, is that for us as people of color, is that we're segregated into these small spaces, that income is not well, and there's a lot of racism around that time, and also anti-miscegenation laws, which means for us as Filipinos, we couldn't, marry those outside of our race. And so there's a lot of tension at that time. And there's also city redevelopment happening in the area, which then demolished the buildings and residences. And then so the Filipino community relocated west to the Bunker Hill area for nearly a decade. So has anyone taken like the flight, like Angels, the flight of Angels with the trolley, right? So in that area, that there's like Bunker Hill, right? And so moving forward to the 1940s, the late 1940s, the Filipino community moved another time to Temple and Beaudry due to further city redevelopment projects and demolition of the area. And as I go through this timeline, y'all, if you haven't used the restroom yet, you could also look at the timelines on your left. What you can also do to follow along is, as we are here at Temple Beaudry, and I was just reminded right here, is that it is on our social media. So if you go onto Instagram and you go to @TheSundayJump, everyone, we're going to do some little tech. We go from like the 1920s vibe right here and then into the smartphone era. So you go on to @TheSundayJump, and you'll be able to walk through the timeline with us. All right. So the first slide there is 1920s, and it's going into Bunker Hill with the trolley, right? The Flight of Angel stairs, right? Cool. Angel's Flight, right? And it keeps on going. And so right there at Temple Beaudry. So it later became dilapidated, and because it was dilapidated, it was slated to be redeveloped in the post-World War II era. And so it was then in the early 1950s where Filipinos were able to buy land, and many purchased their first homes in the Temple Beverly Quarter District, which is now Filipinotown. And so continuing to build the Filipino-owned businesses, the churches, the organizations, and it became Historic Filipinotown. But wait, it's 1950s, but today we're only celebrating the 22nd anniversary? Something that doesn't quite make sense, right? Well, it's thanks to community organizers, through organizations, residents, families, and together with City Council member at that time of CD13, which is the City District here 13, Eric Garcetti, where we had a resolution where it was finally made official to announce this area as Historic Filipinotown. And so this neighborhood's birthday is August 2nd, 2002. So happy belated birthday to Historic Filipinotown. And it's thanks to the community being able to celebrate the area that we are now in. And historic. Recognize that there is history here, but that we do not live in the past. That we are here, that we are now. This is vibrant, this is your community, this is our community, and on to the next and into the future. And so welcome everyone to Historic Filipinotown. Yeah. And so